I need to have a conversation with you because you make everything harder than it needs to be. You can't fully enjoy anything when you win because part of you is always whispering that it should have been more difficult. And here's the strange part: the easier the path looks, the less you actually trust it. Something in you says, if I didn't push hard enough, if I didn't grind, my wins don't really count. So you add friction when there doesn't need to be more prepping, more proving yourself, more strain on your energy, and you call it discipline. My name is Ege, and I help analytical men turn their minds into their biggest asset and create a life of high performance without sacrificing their peace, their calm, or their confidence. And what I've seen in a lot of high performers is they just make things harder than they need to be. So in this video, I'm going to show you why easy feels like cheating, the exact belief underneath it, and how to keep your standards high while you put down the extra weight you carry when you're going into your goals. So let's start, right? Why easy feels like cheating? Because this disguises itself almost like a value. When a simpler way to do something appears, maybe like a shortcut that's completely legitimate, instead of relief, you actually feel suspicion. You think to yourself, wait, that can't be right. This is too easy. I must be missing something, right? So you go back and make it harder just to feel safe. And notice what the rest does to you, right? On a day off, you don't actually feel free. You feel restless. You even feel a little bit useless, like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm I'm enjoying this spa day, or I'm enjoying this walk at the park. It's like I'm getting away with something because you feel like you're valuable after output, even on an empty day off, even with nothing to do, right? And rest feels like it has to be earned. It's never allowed. So if any of that lands for you, you're not lazy, you're not undisciplined, you have a rule that you've been running. And let me show you exactly where it came from. So here's the mechanism. Somewhere early, struggle paid off for you. The hard work got you the grade, got you into medical school, got you into a top engineering school. The approval, the way out, the respect. So effort was the thing that reliably turned into safety and love, into your potential. And your mind did what a smart young mind does. It drew a clear line and it said, I'm valued by how hard I work. And over time, that stopped being something that you do and became someone that you are. The grind just became your identity, right? So now, decades later, the belief is still quietly running you. You think to yourself, if I'm not pushing myself hard enough, I'm slipping. If this win didn't cost me almost everything I had, then it's just not going to count. And I want to be clear because a lot of content will tell you, oh, just have more balance, as if you haven't thought of that, right? But this isn't a balance problem. This isn't a willpower problem. It's a belief problem. You inherited a rule before you were old enough to question what was going on. And the good news is this rule can actually be written, but first you have to see why it's so difficult to change this, right? Here's why you cannot put this extra weight, this extra effort down. Letting go of the struggle doesn't feel unfamiliar to you. It almost feels like a betrayal because if the struggle wasn't necessary, then some parts of your mind need to conclude that past suffering was pointless. You could have actually gotten to the place that you're in with a lot less overthinking, a lot more calm, a lot less beating yourself up. And facing this thought can be a little bit difficult. So you keep carrying the extra tension, the extra weight, not because you need it now, but to protect the meaning of the things that you've already been through, right? And that builds a loop that ends up trapping you. Here's what that loop looks like. First, you choose the hard path to prove it's working, or to prove it's worth it. It works, you get the results, but you get it at a brutal cost to your body, sometimes your relationships, sometimes your peace. And then your mind draws exactly the wrong conclusion. It's like backward rationalizing. See, the struggle is what made me succeed. So you never once test whether it could have been easier. And that belief creates the grind creates the results seem to justify the grind, and then the belief gets stronger and stronger and tighter as you age through life. So, how do we actually break this loop without turning into someone who's just unmotivated and who doesn't care about reaching his goals? Because there's a real fear here. But before we get into that, just a quick pause. If you resonate with this and you want to know the specific belief pattern that's holding you back, I build a 3-minute free MindOS quiz. You can take it, it's 6 questions, and once you complete the quiz, you'll see the exact archetype that your beliefs are coming from, how it's holding you back, and how to actually rewire them so you can break the specific loop that you're in. Okay, so how do we break this loop, what we're talking about in this video, right? The standard advice is to just say, oh, you know, man, you've been working so hard, just relax, take it easy. You already have the things that you've been looking for. What's the point of pushing yourself so hard? But the thing is, for a man running this belief, this advice is a little bit repelling. Like, what do you mean, take it easy? I have bigger goals, right? When someone tells you relax a little bit, it almost seems like they're inviting you to go soft. And going soft is the one thing you swore you'd never do. So maybe you agree with them, you say, yeah, a little bit of rest would definitely help me. But you snap right into the grind. Maybe the next day, maybe even later, the same day. So telling you to care less was never designed to work. Instead, what we need to do is do everything with a completely different order. First, we regulate the nervous system. We build an internal bit of safety that isn't conditional on your output. So slowing down stops registering as danger in your body. Then you go find the belief. If it isn't easy, it isn't worth it. And you trace it back to where it was installed, that younger version of you who needed the struggle to feel safe, right? Once you do that, you give it back. You understand that this belief is not something I was born with. It was just the smartest conclusion I could draw at the time, and I don't need it anymore. I don't need it. And then, with that change, we run a very small experiment. You just take one thing, just one action, and you take the simpler way. This can even be symbolic, like going somewhere in the fastest path, or it can be taking a day off, right? You do it the simple way, at the standard that you want, and you watch what happens. And here's what you find. A lot of the time, the simpler way still gets you the results because now you are the person who's built the core skills and you don't need to make it any harder on yourself. The work is still good. People don't punish you for doing it the easy way. And that's the rule, updating through evidence, right? So you see, oh, I didn't just do something cool with my mind. It's also led to different outcomes. The key part is you don't want to argue with your beliefs. You want to shift the belief and then test it against reality. So here's a quick summary to take from this video, right? You were never lazy, and you probably know that. You were never undisciplined, and you probably know that too. But not being lazy and not being undisciplined doesn't mean you always have to do it the hard way. In fact, you were loyal. You were loyal to an old idea that hard equals worthy. The one that kept the younger you safe. But you're not him anymore. So you can keep the high standards that you have, the skills that you have, the drive that you have, and put down the suffering that you thought was the price you had to pay. So, if you want to find the exact belief running your pattern, take the free 3-minute quiz, MindOS quiz, and I'll show you your archetype and the belief driving it. And if you know this is the pattern you're struggling with, I have a 7-day calm protocol that walks you through this process of regulating, debugging, and tracking so you can work on this belief specifically and see in real data how this makes a difference for you. If you enjoyed this type of video and it hit home, I break down the inner world of high-performing men in videos like this multiple times a week. So please subscribe. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one.